Conversations black people aren't ready to have. Number one, Tevin Campbell's I'm Ready is a better song than Tevin Campbell's Can We Talk. Number two, Jazz from Drew Hill was always a better singer than Cisco. Cisco is just more marketable. And number three, my personal favorite, we as a collective owe Terry from Soul Food an apology because she was not the villain for taking care of that ashy entitled ass family. Fight me in the comments if you want to.
Hey gorgeous people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Maria David, and I am back with another interesting video. I brought together TikTok compilation for you all to watch today, where black people are saying conversations that black people are not ready to have. I know you have some conversations you feel like black people are not ready to have. Kindly put them down in the comment section because I have interesting stitches to share with you. So sit down, relax, and let's watch the stitches together.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have. Number one.
I promise I'm gonna get these in a playlist for y'all. But here we go. Black mothers hate their daughters a lot. I know these are hot takes, but I'm gonna give y'all some examples. A lot of y'all hate your daughters because their fathers actually give a f about them and want to be in their lives, and your daddy didn't, so you're jealous. Your daughter could be a prettier version of you, and you resent her because having her is what you blame for why you're not as attractive as you used to be, so you're jealous. A lot of dark-skinned mothers are jealous of their light-skinned daughters. A lot of light-skinned mothers are resentful that they made a dark-skinned baby. A lot of black mothers treat their sons drastically different from their daughters. And that's mostly because all interactions between black women and black men, regardless of the relationship, puts the black woman in a position of submission to that black man, even if it's her own child. But pretty much all interactions with black women and every other demographic is transactional. They only want to interact with us to get something out of us. So, when a black woman has a daughter, best believe that that little girl has to earn her keep in that household with that black woman. Her life can't be no crystal stair. And one of y'all better get that reference. You better get it. That all being said, though, no woman gets less grace than a black mother. Y'all saw what they let that white boy do to that black mother in that car with her 2 children in Philadelphia. And even with a weapon pointed directly in her face, that woman still stood her ground to that white boy, with no support from anyone else around her. Because black mothers are the only mothers that are not seen as ones that deserve support, sympathy, and respect. No, not every black mother deserves forgiveness, but all mothers deserve some understanding. Lots of us have way worse childhoods than anything you could even imagine. And that does not excuse the behavior that you have suffered in your life, but it does give context to why it happened. And as a black mother, if y'all would just apologize to your children for the mistakes that you made and own them humbly, you could get a better relationship going with your kids. Your children are not responsible for the problems that you went through. They are the victims of them, though. And even in that, most of them still love you. You just have to love them enough to give them the apologies that they deserve. The real conversation that the black community isn't ready to have is that the parents and the elders are not prepared to apologize to these kids that they have harmed in this community. We dismiss our harm by saying that we did the best we could, when the truth is your best wasn't good enough.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
Number one, your kids should be able to express themselves and say how they feel without it turning into an argument or y'all going days or months without talking to each other. 2, your child should not be paying rent under your household. I don't care if they turn 18 and got a job, they should not be paying rent. That creates generational poverty. You should take that money, if you're going to take money from your child, and put it in a savings account and save it for their car, their college, or their down payment on a house. And 3, temptations is better than 5 heartbeats. You can fight me in the comments. I don't care. Bye.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
You can't be out here screaming Black Lives Matter if you're homophobic and or transphobic. I'm gonna say it again. You cannot be out here screaming Black Lives Matter if you are homophobic and or transphobic. Cause babe, that's not how that shit works. You don't get to pick and choose which black lives to give a fuck about. But I know y'all not ready for that conversation.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
A lot of our parents should have had us in therapy when we was kids, but because they believe in this whole what goes on in this house stays in this house, we are now all adults riddled with secrets, trauma, and emotions we don't know how to regulate, anger we don't know how to deal with, conversations we don't know how to have. So yeah, definitely should have had a therapist when we was kids.
Conversations Black people aren't ready to have.
A lot of you parents did not raise your children. You did not love your children. You did not even teach your children. All you did was provide for your children. And you should be more of a guardian than a parent because you did not fulfill the responsibilities of what a parent is supposed to do. You did not teach your child anything, any type of life skill. Your child pretty much taught themselves, raised themselves, and figured stuff out on their own. Or they went to another adult figure that they could trust and that was mature, that they actually could learn something from. A lot of you all traumatized your children and made them feel unsafe when you yourself were throwing a tantrum because you could not emotionally regulate when you were faced with the challenge. And you whined and complained and bitched and moaned instead of figuring it out. You force your children to figure it out, but you don't teach them anything. You don't teach your children any lifestyles and then you shame them for not knowing. But who was supposed to teach them? You. A lot of you all are emotionally stunted as a teenager and you weren't even able to help your children during their developmental years because you hadn't even fully developed.
Conversations Black people aren't ready to have.
Number one, just because that's how you grew up don't mean that it was right. I don't care what they talked about in church, at your grandma in church. If it's not biblical, it's not right. Number two, you can be old and dumb. You can be old and ignorant. It is what it is. Like, there are young people who do no more because they have refused to not stay stuck in their ways. And so they allow the Lord to lead and guide them and gain knowledge and wisdom that you could learn from. Number three, it's not disrespect if you are corrected by somebody that is younger than you. Like, if you did something wrong, be humble enough to say, my bad, I apologize. And number four, Christianity is not the white man's religion, so I'm gonna need y'all to read your Bibles.
Conversations Black people aren't ready to have.
Black queer people have the most revolutionary potential in the Black community because we always have. You love Angela Davis, but you don't want to talk about the fact that she's lesbian. You love Asada Shakur, but you don't want to talk about the fact that Kwaze Balagoon, a member of her Black Liberation Army, was the reason that she got safely to Cuba. Need I say more? I'm going to share with y'all a quote by Asada Shakur that I learned from a Black queer man that I organized with in New York City. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Black liberation means liberation for us all. And those of us that are the most marginalized have the most revolutionary potential because we realize that.
Conversations Black people aren't ready to have. Number one.
Let's talk about the prejudiceness of parents with their children. Some parents, they have more than one children, but one they treat like a golden goose and one they treat like he's nothing. It seems like when the good child speaks, they listen. But when the bad child tries to express himself, they try to control him, try and make him to be what they want him to be, and that's not cool. That child gets treated like crap. He becomes resentful and doesn't want to be around his family. And his family does not understand it, and they get mad about it. You treat that child like he ain't shit, guess what? He ain't going to want to be around y'all. He going to want to go off and find out who he is, which you have prevented him to be, because you think he should be what you want him to be. And at least a resentment among his family. Do better.
Conversations Black people aren't ready to have.
That blood is thicker than water is dangerous. Speaking for myself, we're very big family people. Like, we always say, like, don't go against family, and I feel like that's a really big thing amongst Black communities in this country as well. But I feel like that's so disingenuous and dangerous because blood can be just as dangerous as water. I pride myself on the found family I cultivated over the years because my real family ain't that great. And my real family will protect bad members of the family because they're family. Like, that's the only reason why y'all will protect them. And that's up. Like, I will call out wrong in my family. You wrong. I don't care if you my brother. I don't care if you my cousin. I don't care if you my niece. I don't care if you're my grandmother or my grandfather. Like, you're wrong. And the only reason why they pride themselves on secrecy amongst the family is because if you bring it up to a CPS worker or a police officer, they'll be like, what is this dysfunction happening in y'all house? Y'all enable bad behavior sometimes. And I'm talking about my family.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
That the reason that we don't like our daughters to like boys when they're teenagers and certainly old enough to like boys, and when their bodies tell them that they like boys and they should be attracted to the opposite sex, that we beat the skin off of their back if we find a note from a boy, if we find out they kissed a boy. It's not because we think that our daughters are sluts. It's that we know that the men in our community, way too many of them, are predators. That they are the leaders of genocide, femicide, homicide, patricide, matricide, and all these other negative sides. And that 4.5 to 5 black girls and women have their lives taken. And most young girls have their lives taken by an old man that has either groomed them or is victimizing them. And so therefore we hide this guise of, well, we don't want you to like boys. Why you like boys? And slut shaming and guilting our girls for liking boys because we don't want to hold men and boys accountable for being predators.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
There is no hierarchy of oppression within our community. Whether you're a man, woman, gay, or straight, no subgroup within our community has it harder than someone else. Before you say I jumped down the red pill rabbit hole, I'd like to preface this discussion by saying intersectionality is very important in how we're oppressed, but not how much we're oppressed. There are definitely different flavors of injustice and mistreatment. However, no one in our group benefits from the mistreatment of another subgroup. And I'm tired of seeing otherwise productive conversations devolve into the oppression Olympics because we're trying to weaponize intersectionality. I'm tired of seeing people say that we can't come together because we're treated differently when we're treated differently by the same people in the same systems with the same ideas. As a black man, whatever harms anyone in my community harms me as well. Being a man puts me in no better position than a sister because the police are a patriarchal institution that deem me a threat. And being straight puts me in no better position than my gay family member because it hypermasculinizes me and robs me of my ability to show emotion. But as a straight man, it does behoove me to stand together with those in my community to dismantle patriarchy and other forms of oppression that we face. Maybe if we started talking about how all the problems are all of our problems, we'd have more people working together instead of working against each other. Holla at me in the comments, I'm out.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
Having an older child doesn't mean you automatically have a babysitter for your other younger kids while you go do what you want to do. The color red isn't grown, it's a color. A girl being interested in cosmetics, nails, makeup, all of that, that's just them being a girl. That's not being promiscuous or fast. That's just them being interested in what normal girls are interested in. You still can have limitations set if they try to explore that. Like, it's not like full-blown lashes and just a long acrylics, and you can still have limitations. If you gotta tell your child to change their clothes because this person coming over, that means that person shouldn't be up. Because why do you only trust that person around your child if they're wearing this specific type of clothing? That's weird. Purposefully provoking your kids, and then when they reciprocate your energy, you want to pull that honor thy mother card. That's manipulation. Respecting elders only goes so far. And what I mean by that is, if you're an elder and you disrespect, you're no longer entitled to that respect. The same way you want respect, you have to give it. Your age doesn't justify you disrespect. That's weird. Being mad strict, you don't let your child do nothing, go to no movies, don't do nothing. That child is going to grow up mad wild. Stop kicking y'all kids out just because they're 18. Just because they're 18, that doesn't mean they're financially and mentally ready to be out there by themselves. The only reason why a child will want to leave a household as soon as possible is because of you. Stop calling your kid grown when you literally forced them to be grown in the first place. And what I mean by that is they watching your kids while you go do what you want to. Make sure they eat, make sure they take baths, make sure they set for the night. Whole time it's supposed to be a person doing that for them. But you put them in that position to be independent and make sure everything else gets done in the house. You're literally forcing them to grow up. Now, when they get older, and they start acting grown, it's a problem. Stop.
Conversations black people aren't ready to.
Sorry if I sound redundant. I just want to speak some stuff about my own experience that when I do decide to have a family of my own, I will be trying to break these things. I think everybody said it. If you have multiple children, the oldest child is not a babysitter, nor are they second mom, nor are they second dad. If mom and dad is present, that is mom and dad. Kids should not be disciplined if they do not finish their food, maybe lessen their portions, or try a different set of foods. Obviously within reason, but I think most of us black folks, we know what I'm trying to say. If your kid is under an age where they cannot legally work, to me, there is no such thing as McDonald's money for something. Like, you're the parent, you should be providing it within reason. Do as I say, not as I do is probably the most played out reasoning for ending a conversation there ever is. I want to stump it into the ground and I want to burn it, because that just cannot be a real thing. Your girls and your boys should have a sex talk, whether together or separate. It is important that they both have it, and no, simply not having sex or not, or wrapping it up does not end the sex talk. There's a lot more nuance to that situation, and it needs to be taken with care. School is not the only place that your children should be getting educated. You need to teach your kids too. Just as you tell the girls you don't want them coming home pregnant with some little boy's baby, you should be telling your boys you should not be getting other little girls pregnant before their time. If you guys are a Christian household, y'all need to quote the entire Bible, not parts of it. Thou shalt honor their parents. Okay, but if you scroll down, it also says that you shall not provoke your child. So do with that what you will, but if we want to play the Bible game, you need to read the whole Bible and not just quote the ones, to get your point across. Your kids should be allowed to have friends, obviously within reason, but let's just think of a scenario where your kids don't have friends. You know what those tend to be? Psychopaths. Chores is everybody's job, not just the girls in your family. Stop making your little girls feel bad for being born little girls. It is totally natural for them to be tomboys if that's what they choose. Just like it is totally natural for them to be into the feminine things. But stop making them feel bad for being girls because you wanted a boy, because you were taught that was quote unquote easier. That also leads into stop babying your boys, because y'all supposed to be raising men. And now every woman that he dates from that point on has to baby him or teach him how to be a man. That's not our job. Teach healthier relationships. Teach family values. But also teach that if you don't get any of those things, you should be okay with being by yourself. Don't try to force it. We're in 2023 now, but there's still some people left lingering that believe there's a thing as good hair. There's no such thing as good hair. Good hair is healthy hair. No matter the coils, no matter the thickness, no matter the height, all that. For mothers, you are not in competition with your daughters. Stop that. I don't know where that came from. I don't want to get into a debate about it. Stop that. Fathers, your only job isn't to provide and discipline. Your job is a lot more nuanced than that. Old people, I can literally go on for days, but I feel like most of us said that. Like, respect is earned, not given. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been on this earth. I don't care where you line up with me in the totem pole. You disrespect me, best believe you're going to get disrespect back. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
Conversations black people aren't ready to have.
The patriarchy argument, the feminist movement, all that does not apply to us. Does not apply to black people. Because we were never governed by a patriarchy. We were governed by a matriarchy. That's why we had Big Mama. That's why we had strong women in the family. Because women influence the children, and the children are the ones that go out in the world. So going with the patriarchy is bringing us down. No, the matriarchy on this side is the one that's bringing us down. Because the women have listened to white women say, oh, we got to break the patriarchy, we got to break the patriarchy. We didn't have that problem. That was not our issue. We didn't have the patriarchy issue. We had a matriarchy. We had mothers telling their kids to get out the street. We had aunties telling them to stop. We had women defending other women. We had women conducting other women and schooling other women, saying, no, this ain't right. No, that ain't right. No, this ain't right. Hey, Leroy, Craig, y'all need to go whoop his ass because he up here whooping on your sister. That's what we had. We had matriarchs. And every time I've said something about matriarchs, people say, oh, no, nobody want to do that. Oh, that ain't, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Do you realize the matriarchy, the falling of the matriarchy is well represented in soul food? Because Terry and her sister would have got cussed out. She'd have got called a hoe forever. And he would have never married into that family. Because that wouldn't have occurred. That wouldn't have happened. You're done from this family. And then he's sitting there eating dinner and all that. Miss Faith coming to hang out. Oh no, you're not staying at my daughter's house with her husband. No, you can lay on this damn couch, and if you don't like it, you get the hell out. See, stuff like that wouldn't have happened. In a modern matriarchy, we're not going to have all these women and children being molested and essayed by, uncles and cousins. Because we know now that we can stop that. We can just say, oh, Uncle so-and-so ain't coming here. But that's our uncle. I don't give a fuck who he is. He ain't coming here. He's not coming to my house. We would have children that could go to Big Mama. We would have children that could go to Auntie and all that. But guess what? Auntie, Big Mama and all that, they living their best life. Because being a matriarch is not cute. Being a matriarch is not cool. So now we can't blame the matriarch because we all kumbaya with women. So now we got to make them men. The men aren't the problem. The men didn't change. The women did. Once they got power, once they got a little bit of control, they went buck wild with it and forgot all about the strength of the black matriarchy, the black mothers, the black sisters, black women holding others accountable. Now it's blame the patriarchy. That is not our struggle. That was never our fight, because the white women don't give a damn if you have power. They just want you to work so they can go to work. They want you to take care of their children so they can go to work. That patriarchy, feminist shit, that ain't about us. That's not our fight, but you've made it our fight. And hence, you've ruined our matriarchy. And also, if you're going with the argument, well, men don't respect us, you're not giving them a reason to. What are they going to respect? Why? Men are following your lead. That's how powerful the matriarchy is. They follow their women's lead. If you want to give pussy out of both legs, they gonna take it. If you sit here and move in a homosexual, they're going to take it. When you move your standards up and they want to be with you, they will move their standards up. But you're not consistent. You have your standards here for 6 foot, 6-pack, 12-inch dick. But when he's up here and he's 5'4", 6 figures, nice guy, the standards are up here. And they figured it out. They figured, well, these women have now put their power in the pussy. I'm going to just get the pussy and move on. Or I'm going to just get her pregnant and move on. Because I ain't got nothing to lose. So when you want to bring men up, it's not their fault. They're moving with the matriarchy. They're moving with the women. The women are giving pussy out of both legs. We going to take it out of whatever leg they giving out of. They popping out babies. They're not making us use rowers. They're not making us do anything. They're just letting us get by with all this stuff. We don't have to work. We don't have to court them. We don't have to do any of these things. Shit, they just gonna do it. And that's why you're fighting for men to fight for you. Because you want the value of the old matriarchy where, yeah, brother gonna come. They're gonna handle this. You want that old mentality from the men, but you want to do what you want to do. Fuck them kids, fuck all that. I'm living my best life. The men in our community, they follow the women. And the women, have fallen short.
If you're still here, definitely you're enjoying this video. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff. Okay, so I feel like everybody said that parents should know that the first child, your first daughter, is not your maid. She's a child. Don't use her as a child. You all, if you know, I've posted a video about elder sister syndrome, that a lot of elders sisters, the Gen X, they came and they were really talking what they went through, how they were being literally the second mom for their siblings, and a lot of people also share their opinion down in that comment section. If you've seen the video, let me know. I've posted the video like 2-3 months ago. For me, I feel like conversations that Black people are not ready to have is that always have sex conversations with your children. See, I don't know about America, but Nigeria, we don't talk about sex. Our parents don't tell us anything about sex. It is abomination to even say the word. You cannot say you want say even if you are like 25, even if you have a boyfriend, you cannot talk but you have sex. But when you get married, and immediately they want you to get married, and immediately they want to start seeing you with children. Like, how am I supposed to have children when you not teach me how to have sex? So we have to go and learn all those things outside, and that's really bad, because at the end of the day, even if probably you get molested or you get raped by somebody, you can't open your mouth to talk to your parents about it, because they'll be like, shh, don't talk about it, because they see sex as abomination. I don't know why. It has to be discussed. Another thing is that leave married people alone that don't want to have children. It is not compulsory to get married, and it's not compulsory to have children. See, leave single women alone that don't want to have children. Leave them alone. Our aunties and our uncles and even our grandmas. I was talking to my mom was it a few weeks ago, and I mentioned one of my friends. She was like, the first thing she was like, she married. I said, what happened? Like, I feel like that's the only thing. Like, if a woman is not married, she's not successful. And it's still in their mentality, like they still feel like that's the way, like a woman must be married. And after you get married like this, you start expecting, let your friend even just have at least one child. Like, she doesn't want to have children, leave her alone. Say, it's not good though, even if it's one. Like, it's okay to even decide to have only one child. It's not like they will say, okay, the normal way is to have 2 children. These are conversations Black people are not ready to have. I feel like the most important thing is training your child, not waiting for people outside to train your child for you. And at the end of the day, when your child learns from outside, you start blaming them. I saw a video on TikTok, it was very funny, but they were speaking Yoruba. I'm a Yoruba girl, if you guys don't know. So a lady posted, and she was like, I wore this particular clothes out. She wore a very nice gown, a very long gown. But what happened to the gown is that the gown was a tube gown, so it doesn't have hand. And the tube it's not like it didn't open her breast, it was just tube. And she said she posted it on her status, and her mom sent voice notes, started gaslighting, blaming her, telling her that you better watch me, and this, that, what kind of pikin is this? You're exposing your body. Why are you doing this? Hey God, what have I done to deserve this kind of pikin? I'm like, what did she wear that deserves all this kind of talk? Like, as in, I wish I could just put the video, but the video is in Yoruba and I really can't translate it. But what she's trying to say is she's trying to make the girl feel bad. So she's like, hey, what kind of life is this? So see me see wala, blah blah blah. But my own is, would you prefer you don't see your child dressed like that and let her dress and wear scarf, wear this, wear that when she's with you, but when she's out with her friends, she dress wherever she wants? Like, let your child be the way they want to be. And she wasn't even exposing her body. Let me even say, she wasn't even exposing her body. So what if she was exposing her body? So that's been another thing. So my own point is, this is a conversation I feel like Black people need to have. For me, yeah. I'd like to know your own conversation. I'm actually really sweating. Thank you all so much for sticking around to this point. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.